The college football experience, SMU Mustangs 2025 season preview episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Edge Boost. Yes, the bank account that is built for bettors. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with the promo code SGPN and get a free Refs Are Terrorists t-shirt. Yes, claim your shirt at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/refs. We're also brought to you by Naira Bets. Yes, get your $25 free bet for the Belmont Stakes by going to nyrabets.com/SGPN25 and make sure you use the promo code SGPN25 to cash that. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
This is Coach June Jones, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Welcome to the college football experience 2025. SMU season preview, but this is the first of 136. If you maybe you're just new to TCE, we will have an episode for every team in the land. We've been doing this shit for years, so subscribe, tell a friend, doesn't matter, whatever platform on the audio side, but I do highly recommend of watching this one, youtube.com/the college experience. Get on over there, hit that like and subscribe button. And what a team to talk about it. If you're wondering how we got on the SMU Mustangs, well, I did a 136 team randomizer with the numbers. And the first number that came up was the SMU Mustangs. We are also doing a doubleheader. The Florida International, the FIU Panthers, aka the airport, will be next at about an hour and a half here. So if you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, that's a fair question. My name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I smoke and I drink, and I don't have stress, and I'm healthy.
I do not have stress. I went back and listened to last year's episode and see Nick. It's a good thing he's not here to give him some shit. Locked up the under. I said, no, I'm taking them to win the ACC championship. They didn't, but damn, they were close. If we didn't have 5 turnovers, I'm fairly certain we would have. But I guess, if you're not first, you're last. But what a time to be an SMU Mustang fan. You heard June Jones, friend of the program, on the intro. I like to think he's the first guy to get this thing rolling after they killed off the program. The NCAA did. Those filthy whores. All right. I am joined by my co-host. You've heard him on the college basketball experience that we do every single night of the college basketball season. But he's all over the football footprint now moving forward with TCE. Give it up for former staffer at Austin P with the Governors, South Carolina with the Gamecocks, and West Virginia with the Mountaineers, Ryan McIntyre, aka Moneyline Mac. How are you, brother?
What is going on, baby? Yeah, the Pony Express. It's a good time, man. ACC champs year 1, college football playoff, and that cash flow is coming in. I can tell you. Let's go Mustangs.
Mac tonight. Come on, make it Mac tonight.
Almost ACC champs. Almost
True.
ACC champs.
Regular season champs.
Yeah. There you go.
They ran the table.
They did, and that was super impressive. I mean, look, it's got to be the best time to be an SMU fan since like the early 80s, when they had Craig James and Dickerson and Jerry Ball and Michael Carter and fucking Ron Meyer and all those guys. They were killing it. And then, there's a little They were paying some players, but let's not kid ourselves. Dickerson was getting a gold Corvette. I'm sure Texas never paid anybody. No way. No way. Didn't Texas also start like a linebacker who was like 34 years old, who'd been through college like twice in the 90s? I do remember that story too. But anyway, SMU, what a season from a year ago. And shout out to the chat. Come be a part of this. Come be a part of this. We got everyone in here. Shout out to DB Cooper, Cannabis Capper talking about it is it's officially summer now. It's officially football season. Some say. I got some DMs regarding that. And shout out to Robert Martin giving us $100. Roll, yeah, I mean Rolex Dad. Shout out to Go Fresno State Bulldogs jumping in here. Yeah, I mean this might be one of the most interesting teams out of the 136. I was glad, and I didn't run the randomizer a second time. If you're wondering, this was all one time. So I'm glad it landed on this team to kick things off. And don't forget, college football still has the real kickoff, not that NFL, XFL bullshit. Thank God. But I mean, where do you put this team in the landscape of just like must watch? To me, like they're top 10, like must watch. Really, ever since they said, "Hey, ACC, we don't need your fucking money. We're going in." Right? Yeah. NIL became legal. SMU just said, "Okay, checkmate, motherfuckers." Yeah. I mean, they got to be top 20 must-watch programs. I feel like moving forward, right?
Well, especially, yeah, like macro, definitely. I mean, they're going to continue to get players, and we'll talk about what they're bringing in through the portal, high school recruiting, and all that good stuff. But this year, this is going to be an entertaining team. With, they could really score last year, and Jennings being back another year in the system. They play fast. They're an entertaining brand, and it's good to see the Pony Express back. And yeah, I mean, they were just doing NIL before everybody else does it now.
I mean, teams are doing it too, but they were harsh to SMU. Hey, I love how people think like, oh, they were really breaking the rules. I mean, I read a book about fucking Bear Bryant having someone fly a crop dusting plane over a recruit's house with $5,000 in cash and a Texas A&M towel, or a flag. I'm sorry, not a towel, a flag. All right, and that was in like 1954 or some shit like that. It's been happening for a while. They did SMU dirty. They did them wrong, and I'm glad they're back. And if I'm all those other Texas schools, TCU, Baylor, Texas, A&M, Houston
on the schedule.
Oh, I'd be like sitting there like, shit. They're back at the party. They got a big checkbook too. Let's get into this. Once again, youtube.com/the college experience. Jump on over there because we got slides, folks. We got fucking slides. Rhett Lashlee. Well, before we just dive into the team and the schedule, and if we like every team, we're going to be talking over or under what if we like the odds for them to win the conference. Rhett Lashlee was 7-6 in his first year after coming over from Miami, where he's the offensive coordinator. Then went 11-3. Then 11-3 last year, and obviously made the college football playoffs. And I think the big thing there is the first two were in the AAC. He won the AAC championship in 23. Last year, first year in the ACC, no problem. He's going to the ACC championship. Almost won that thing. 2024 ACC Coach of the Year. That was last year, obviously. And I think one of the big things when doing a deep dive on this program, building these slides, and just diving into the program, which is part of what I love about college football, is we just get this time of year, I get to dive into every program, look under the fucking hood. But 16-3 at home. Now he's 29-12 overall, but 16-3 at home. And those home losses have been like close games. Cincinnati got him. BYU got him. I feel like, he's been better than I thought he would be. Now I still say they cooked the books a little bit schedule wise for him in 23 in the AAC. And I would even say a little bit last year in the ACC. I was listening to last year's episode where I called them to go to the ACC championship. And my logic was I wasn't even that bullish on the team. I just thought, man, they gave him a great schedule. They gave him a great fucking schedule. Now I did think they would lose 4 games in the regular season, which I definitely was wrong about because they actually only lost won in the regular season there. But where are you at with Rhett Lashlee?
Yeah, so going into last year, I would say I was more skeptic, but I mean, when you go to a college football playoff, that'll make you buy in quickly. So I kind of flipped on Lashlee a little bit. You mentioned it. Their schedule was nice, but they did go on the road 3 straight games in the month of October and get wins, and they never had really the trap game. Their one loss was to BYU early in the year, and then they didn't lose again until Clemson at the end of the year. And they were impressive in doing so, especially later in the year. They blew teams out, and then just the way that they handled the rivalry game against TCU as well. So I thought Lashlee did a great job with the team last year. Obviously, the big decision was going full-time with Jennings after that BYU game, and then no more quarterback by committee, because after that, I think they really took off. And you just look at their point production. They took off offensively.
Yeah, I think this is something new to waking up to, is like the portal era. It's probably even more of a factor of them stepping up a conference, but they almost lost in week 0 to Nevada. They probably should have lost in week 0 to Nevada, but Preston Stone, because they were doing the 2, it was like a fucking UFL game. They were doing the 2 quarterback system. No, but he actually in that particular game was the guy that brought him back.
Yes.
Because they took him out, and then he came back, and he was the one finding RJ Maryland deep for that touchdown. I had RJ Maryland in my DFS lineup, which he killed it. We'll be talking about him a bit, but yeah, Rhett Lashlee, I think, doing a better job than if you go listen to when he got hired, that episode where I talked about, I don't know how much I like that hire. Yeah, he's making a fool out of me. So, look, last season, their offense, 8th in the nation in scoring offense. Offense coordinator Casey Woods is the OC there. 31st in passing offense, 55th in rushing offense. Overall, the 27th ranked offense in the country, Mac. Does that surprise you, considering they jumped up to a Power 5 level? Because, as an AAC guy, because East Carolina is the greatest university in the world, I've always said if we came to the ACC, we would dominate. And SMU is making us look very accurate, or making my drunk talk very accurate. What do you make of that offense going up against 10 Power 5s?
Yeah, and what's crazy too is, and I already touched on it, like they took off after they fully went in with Jennings. So Nevada, they didn't really score until the very end. Like they had those 2 touchdowns late to steal that game out there. They only scored 29 points in that game. And then BYU, they only scored 15. So a lot of their production, like you said, took off when they finally committed to the quarterback, Casey Woods, offensive coordinator. They really formed their identity. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me that their numbers look this good from the offensive standpoint, because that's what the eye test said, and that's why they were able to roll through the ACC.
Yeah. Well, look, guess who's back? Kevin Jennings. Now, I am a big fan of Kevin Jennings, but I did look like a little bit of a fool when I said, man, this quarterback late in the year, I was like, he's playing at an extremely high level. And I remember arguing with some people like, you guys are hating on this guy. And then he had 5 turnovers against Clemson and 5 against Penn State. And I said, you know what? Maybe I should shut the fuck up. But I do believe he is very good. Yeah. And I do believe if he takes a step forward, you want to talk about the offense potentially really lighting up. You see the tools. 23 touchdowns, 11 interceptions a year ago. He's got to take that next step, though. If SMU wants to be back in the playoff mix to me, because I think this year, we'll get to this year's schedule, but I think it might be a little bit harder. I think he has to step up, and the defense took some hits. How about you?
Yeah, that's the last impression people remember, is him just self-imploding in that Penn State game in the first half, and the game getting away with his turnovers. So he's definitely got to take another step, but I think he will. I mean, like I said, he only truly started 9 games last year, so with no quarterback by committee. So I think he will. He's electric on the ground as well, and I anticipate him taking another step. I mean, we see guys second year in the system usually take a step, so you would have to think Jennings would as well.
Yeah, and former 5-star quarterback Preston Stone is now at Northwestern, where he's penciled in to be the starter. Lakeside at that fire ass makeshift stadium. But yeah, Jennings back. I think that's a big reason why I think people are optimistic and high on SMU. So if he takes that step forward, watch out. RJ Maryland. I'm going to make this argument here. RJ Maryland is the son of Russell Maryland, who played and won national championships with the Miami Hurricane. Also won Super Bowls with the Dallas Cowboys and Jimmy Johnson. He is one of the best tight ends in America, and he got out for the season. I can't remember if it was week 3, week 4, week 5, but that was a critical blow. You know, we saw Penn State with Tyler Warren all year just be a machine, you know, and I feel like if SMU had RJ Maryland, I feel better about those 2 losses. Like maybe they don't beat Penn State, but I feel better about them beating Clemson if you have RJ Maryland, who I think will end up being a 1st or 2nd round draft pick in the NFL draft. He's back. He's healthy. That's another reason to be optimistic on these Mustangs this year. Jordan Hudson. Now they took some hits at wide receiver. I'm not going to bullshit you, but Jordan Hudson is a guy that I really think will take the step forward this year. And he showed flashes. Throughout the season last year. I think this is a guy to potentially watch out for this season. So also Romello Brinson, who's a senior, didn't do much last year. I think just a few catches here. I think only had 1 catch in the playoff game. He's back at the wide receiver spot. I think those guys are going to be big factors. The returning starters, though, just Kevin Jennings, RJ Maryland, Jordan Hudson, 3 of 5 on the O-line, and I think that's a good thing. They did get completely hit at the running back spot via portal / NFL graduation there. But hey, you're telling me you get 3 of 5 back on the O-line, NFL talent at tight end that I think will certainly be in the NFL. And then Kevin Jennings, I think you should be very optimistic that the offense can be even better than a year ago. Would you agree?
You would have to think so. And getting Maryland back off the injury, he got injured. I think it was middle of October. It was either the Stanford game or Louisville game. And yeah, they missed him. I mean, in that Clemson and Penn State game. So that's kind of like adding a guy in the portal coming off an injury. And then you would have to think that Hudson would take a big step forward with the production that they lost at the wide receiver position. So I would think if you're an SMU fan, you would expect the offense to take a step forward here with 3 out of the 5 back on the offensive line. That's the most underrated thing when you have offensive linemen coming back, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I mean, I know they lose Brashard Smith. I think they lose L.J. Johnson too to the portal to Cal. I think they'll find it at the running back spot. But bringing back that on the offensive line and the quarterback, to me, and the health of RJ Maryland, pretty vital for the Mustangs offense. In the transfer portal, they brought in Tyler Van Dyke. You say, what? That guy's still playing college ball? Look, I just referenced that they lost Preston Stone, a 5-star. Well, Tyler Van Dyke started at Miami multiple years. Started at Wisconsin for a game or 2 before he got dinged up going out of bounds. But he is a Rhett Lashlee guy. I think like Rhett Lashlee was the dude that recruited him, and he was in his offense with the U there. So I do think that's a very, very underrated pickup. In case Jennings gets injured or something, you got a veteran that is capable of winning some games for you. And then the running back room, like I was trying to figure out who the hell will be starting. Chris Johnson Jr., by the way, he was at Miami. He also transferred in, but I'm really kind of pissed off. You didn't follow Dad. We have this thing called East Carolina. That's a great institution. How dare you just chase the bag? But he transfers in from Miami. TJ Harden also transfers in from UCLA. I'm very intrigued to see if he gets a start, because another element of this is Derek McFall, I think it is, was a redshirt freshman that ran for like 100 and some yards last year. He's going to step up. And then they have a big time freshman coming in, and Dramico Green. I forget how to pronounce it, but that will be the running back room. So if you're playing fantasy football with college football, I do think one of these running backs will be a big time player this year. Maybe 2. Wide receiver wise, Dylan Goffney comes in from Colorado State, where he had a really good season with the Rams. Yamir Knight from JMU with the Dukes, Patty C's boys. And then they hit the O-line hard. Joshua Bates from Oklahoma, Addison Nichols from Arkansas, Zion Nelson from Miami. Power 5 guys coming in on the O-line. All in all, I think they did a pretty good job in the portal, bringing in some talent that I think could really help this team. It's SMU. They got money. I mean, that shouldn't be that big of a surprise, right?
No. I mean, not a surprise at all. And I think the Harden one was the big one. I mean, he wasn't just a spot guy at UCLA. I mean, he had over 100 carries back-to-back years. 2 years ago, he had 156 carries, over 5 yards of carry. So I think that's the big one. Him and Johnson, a little 1-2 punch in the backfield, and then getting Goffney back from Colorado State after a couple of years. So, and you got to like the 3 Power 5 guys on the offensive line, so stocking up some depth there to be able to bang in the trenches with the ACC and the 2 Big 12 teams on their schedule. Yeah,
and this is just the offense, folks. So shout out to Ryan Hasty in the chat. But yeah, pretty good job there in the portal. They got bags of cash. You know it. On the defensive side of the ball, well, before we get to the defensive side of the ball, I want to let you know that the college football experience is part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. And obviously, the Stanley Cup final is here, and we're giving away an NHL jersey and $200 in SGPN gift cards. Enter for free at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Stanley Cup. And we're also brought to you by Edge Boost, the first ever bank account that is built for bettors, ensuring all gambling transactions are approved. There's no usage fees, no minutes, or no minimums. They're not even going to do a credit check. So earn cashback rewards, 100% approval rating for all betting deposits. Sign up today, edgeboost.bet with the promo code SGPN. And if you sign up this week, once again, you're going to get a free Refs or Terrorist t-shirt. I got mine in the other room. That thing always, you put that on. Everyone's curious. All right. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/refs to claim your free shirt today. And we're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes. Love Underdog Fantasy. When it comes to college football or college basketball, we're playing that thing every day. But look, we're still playing it in the off season. Playing NFL, NBA, and NHL. But also the UFL I've been playing. Got the CFL kicking off this week. You're damn right I'm going to play some CFL Underdog Fantasy. So sign up, and when you do, use our promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. And we're also brought to you by Naira Bets. Bet the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga with Naira Bets. You know I will be. Sign up today using the promo code SGPN25 and get a $25 free bet plus a $200 deposit match bonus. Whether you're a seasoned bettor or just getting started, Naira Bets makes it easy to jump into the action. This exclusive offer is just for the Belmont Stakes, though, so you don't want to miss it. Join now and claim your free $25 Belmont bet today at Naira Bets. That's nyrabets.com/SGPN25. All right, we are back. Shout out to 3802. Eject this shit into my veins. Let's fucking go. Yes, this is college football season now. We're officially here. SMU's defense, Scott Simons, did a pretty damn good job last year. They were 33rd in scoring defense in the country, 79th in pass defense, 7th in the nation in rush defense, 26th overall in total defense. So both right. I mean, offense was 27th in total offense, defense 26th in total. Damn complete team, Mac. Anything there surprise you? I mean, I'll be honest. I think the rush defense at 7th, considering you play 10 power 5s, I'm pretty fucking shocked. I know I thought the ACC gave them a nice schedule, but still, it is what it is. 7th with 10 power 5s is super impressive to me.
Yeah, and one of the good things for Lashlee is he's been able to keep both his coordinators headed into his 4th year. So none of his guys jumped to other jobs. Obviously, you have some turnover every now and then in the positional group, but yeah, I knew they really invested last year in the big fellas up front, and it paid off being a 7th ranked in the country. And like you said, they didn't play a cupcake schedule the entire time. I mean, they played 10 power 5. So I was a little surprised that they were that that they were that high, but the passing defense definitely going to have to take a little bit of a step up here if they're going to get back to the playoff.
Yeah, and on the defensive side of the ball, they bring back one of the best defensive ends in the country, I think. Coming into the season, I would say there's a lot of hype around Isaiah Smith and what he can do. 6.5 sacks a season ago and showed some flashes of brilliance there. Also, two of the best safeties in the country, I feel like. But Isaiah Nwokobia.
It's my favorite part of the show.
These names are tough. Wait till we do BYU. He was a beast a season ago. It's going to be interesting to see what they do though, because they did get hit at the cornerback spot pretty tough. Returning starters though, and look, Isaiah Smith and Cam Robertson, stud defensive ends. Linebacker Alex Kilgore, I think is going to be like one of the superstars on the defense this year. So he really took a step forward a season ago. Both safeties I alluded to, Wacobia and Ahmad Moses, and then cornerback Deuce Harmon's back. They're really going to need a big year out of Deuce Harmon. Little concerned about the defensive tackles, but they got a bunch of money, right? They got a bunch of money, and it's SMU. They'll figure it out. I feel like I know how you say it's SMU, like Dundee. They had a 1-win season not that long ago, but now that things are legal, you could pay. And I just feel like they fit that narrative. They're SMU now. They open up the checkbook. We'll get into that in a little bit. They went out in the portal defensively. They brought in Kavonte Spears from Memphis, William Spencer from Louisville, Terry Webb from Texas State, and a couple of guys from Purdue, and Jeffrey Mba and Lewis there, DeMar J. Lewis. You're kind of surprised that it was. I mean, here's the thing: if you have a great defensive tackle or defensive end, most schools are going to pay up to keep them there. I'm excited to see what William Spencer can do though with these Mustangs. Surprised it wasn't. Maybe they made a run at some, but I feel like you're starting to figure out in college football with NIL now. It's 4 years into this. I feel like now. Or I think it will be the 4th year this coming year. That people you focus on. Oh, we got to keep our offensive lineman, our defense lineman, and our quarterback. Everyone else, okay, could be moving pieces. They also did bring in on the defensive end front DJ Warner from Kansas, who I did have a solid season there. Ja'Kai Long from Missouri, Trey Wilson from Baylor, Akil Washington from South Alabama, and then these sneaky little bastards jump into our backyard in Greenville and take one of our best linebackers. Just filthy. But I'm sure one of these are going to hit. I know they went out and got some. I mean, shit. How many of these guys are defensive linemen? I mean, what? They bring in 9 guys on the D line.
Yeah, I was actually just counting that up. I think it's 8. 4.
I think it's 9, buddy. I think it's 9.
It is 9. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't see Trey Wilson there. Yeah. I mean, and like you said, from a variety of schools, Mississippi State, you got Baylor, you got Purdue, you got Memphis, you got Louisville. I mean, they went all over the place trying to get some help there with the big bodies. But last year they played a lot of games from in the lead, and that may have also been why their rush defense was so good, because most teams aren't going to run on you when you're up 2 to 3 touchdowns. You're playing protect the lead. But I think that definitely they think they can hit on 1 or 2 of these. The kid from Texas State I thought was really good, Terry Webb. So see if he can slide in there as well. But they're going after these trenches. Oh yeah. Look at this.
Yeah. Oh, what do we got here? Excited to see how the defense looks. Oh, this is part of our preview series. We're going to talk about Gerald J. Ford Stadium there. 25 years young, Mac. But I do think the defense is the biggest question mark coming into the season. And as you see in the segment here on youtube.com/the college experience, This is a great new stadium. Like a lot of people they think that I hate new stadiums, which it's not the case. I only hate the stadiums that don't look like football stadiums, right? That aren't football stadiums, in my opinion. Like Texas actually does a good job with new stadiums. Like Baylor's new stadium is fire. SMU's, I know it's 25 years old, but that's still rather new when it comes to college football. I'm going to give this stadium an 8 out of 10, Mag. Look at this thing. Look at this thing. That's a fire. It's you know what's great about it is they gave it the classic look. That brick and shit right there. It's a great. I heard the SMU AD talking this week about potentially adding on to this thing, making it bigger. That apparently it was when they built it, they had plans for that. So I mean, that's a fire stadium, dude. What's it gonna take to get you there? Well, and then you got the SMU fans. Oh, they're all rich as fuck, but still, what's it gonna take to get you out to a game there at Gerald Ford Stadium?
Oh, I love Dallas. I'll put this on my bucket list. Yeah, and last year when their former coach Sonny Dykes got tossed, that place was fucking rocking. So yeah,
oh yeah,
it gets rowdy in there, and I mean the way that they spanked Florida State in their opener too. Yeah, and what was it? They had a Friday night game as well. That was good.
They had a couple Friday night games, I think. Yeah,
yeah, it's a good stadium. I like your ranking. I'll co-sign that 8 out of 10 there.
That's what I'm saying. So anyone hating on me because it's a new stadium, look, there's a lot of good new stadiums.
It's outside. They're
in the minority. Outside and not looking like a goddamn shopping mall is half the battle. All right. We want football to look like football. We don't look like you got to get on a fucking escalator, go past fucking Forever 21 and fucking every other bullshit that's there. California Pizza Kitchen. But yeah, look, great stadium. I'm going to give that thing that's a solid 8 out of 10 right there. Solid 8 out of 10. And let's be honest, part of the excitement about SMU, even though look at these fans, they're passionate. That's college football 101, just passionate fans. But it's the fact they are a private school with a small enrollment. Like that's one of the elements that's great at college football. You can have public schools, you can have service academies, you can have private schools.
Yes.
That just have a shit ton of money and people like this. And I'm trying. Oh, there he is. Remember when SMU was worried about the future and they made a phone call and joined the ACC? That guy right there, George W. And I believe we have some tape from when he called the ACC to get them in. Let's see right here.
I think tide turning. As I remember, I was raised in the desert, but tides kind of turn. It's easy to see a tide turn.
Yeah. Look. Wait.
Did I say those words?
I know the human being and fish can coexist peacefully.
Whoa. I mean, I don't know why that came up on the ACC tapes. These are like the Nixon tapes. What else do we have here from
Dan Marino and his really dynamic wife.
I mean, there was just a lot of gems right there. George W. You gotta love the fact that at basketball and football games over the past year or two, George W. has been there. I know his wife's got his. It's fucking incredible. It's fucking like, I mean, look. I'm not even saying it as a guy who likes his politics. I'm saying it as just the fact it's hilarious that you have a fucking former sitting president that was making phone calls on behalf of the university, which he didn't even fucking go to. Right. And phenomenal stuff right there. But if you're wondering perhaps why they have so much money, dig a little deeper.
Yeah. And Bush has got nothing compared to some of those other guys, but the oil money down there too. I mean, Texas, everything's bigger in Texas, and SMU now is in fuck you mode now that we let them to the party. The Longhorns tried to keep him out for a while, not anymore, baby.
Yeah, and some say that Steve Sarkisian and company might be a little scared. I wanted that matchup in the first round. I still can't believe the filthy committee deprived us of SMU Texas round 1.
Yeah.
I mean, you had it served up perfectly for you. Yeah, George W. there. All right, let's jump into well, also, yeah, I do want to hit on that. Doak Walker. You might see every great running back in the NFL who's, were somewhere in their college reigns, probably a finalist for a Doak Walker award. Doak Walker, look at that. You get out there, Gerald Ford Stadium, you're going to see a fucking fire-ass Doak Walker. And that's really what's great. SMU was fire in the 40s, the 50s, the 60s. That's what's great about them coming back into this era with history like that. But I do want to talk about the state of the program with just every, and we're going to do this with every team, all 136. This is the biggest. This is easier than Texas SMU. State of the program, pick Dundee style here. I mean, this is the easiest one. I'm glad we're starting with this one because I didn't have to think about this. Oh, they have a shit ton of money. They're in Texas, which is just loaded with talent. Yeah, 10 of 10. What would you give yours, Mac?
11 out of 10. I mean, they came into a Power 4 league, paid their way in here because they had so much money, and now they made the playoff in year number 1. I mean, you're right. This actually may be the easiest one to rank.
By far. I'm glad I didn't have to do any work. The next one, Florida International, actually made me think for about 30 minutes. But yeah, easy 10 of 10 or 11 of 10, whatever the fuck you want to say. State of the program, I think they're probably the healthiest program moving forward. The biggest jump for a program in all of college football over the past 5 years, I would say. All right, let's take a look at this schedule because week 1.
Oh, look at this. We got graphics game by game this year.
Dude, I've been putting in fucking work. Just because you guys think I'm down in Columbia power boating, having cocktails I never heard of. All right. I'm fucking sitting there late in the night watching RoboCop 2, fucking making these slides. All right. Texas A&M Commerce. I know they changed their name, but not here on this fucking show. All right. You stick to a fucking name. All right. God damn it.
You make a commitment.
How many of these universities, just bastards, changing their names? Texas A&M Commerce with Clint Dozel's first year there at Commerce in the FCS ranks. Only 3 wins, and they were not against very good competition. But that's kind of what happens when you hire an arena football coach. The chat was joking around. This series goes back to 1915, folks. 1915. But the chat was saying the spread will be 50. They think 50 for week 1, and I can't blame them. So I think it's going to be something like that. 1-0. We can say that, right?
Yeah. I mean, hey, they had the scare last year in week 1, but that was on the road in Reno. This is not there. So yeah, they'll probably win 66-7.
Yeah. Shout out. The chat is rolling along here. This one will be filthy. And I think it's smart because remember, Nevada almost got them last year. Probably should have got them. Yeah. Week 2. Oh man. Dave Aranda, hot seat. Baylor has won 13 straight as they go into Gerald Ford Stadium to take on these SMU Mustangs in a series that goes back to 1916, just 109 years young. This game, Mac, and we're gonna hit on the win total in a second, but I don't want to tell you the win total until we see what our record projection is, and then see if we adjust accordingly. But Baylor, Sawyer Robertson's back at the QB spot. They took a step forward. Dave Aranda was able to salvage his job. This game, and here's why I kind of like Baylor here. It's the look ahead spot.
Yep.
Oh wait, no. Wait, it's Missouri State next? I think I was gonna say
that's a tricky one as well. Yeah.
Well, that's like the Nevada game in a way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like this is a 50-50 toss-up game. I'm gonna give this one. I'm gonna give it to SMU. The more I think about it, because I thought TCU was on deck. It's Missouri State on deck. I'm gonna give it to SMU. They find a way to get Baylor here. What are you doing?
I am thinking along the lines that you're thinking. I think it's going to be a By the way, this should be a Friday night game. This would be a great Friday night game. It said it's Saturday at noon on the C-Dub network. What the fuck? Yeah, I Baylor's one of the kind of intriguing teams with all that stuff, with all those pieces coming back, and Aranda kind of off the hot seat, I guess, for at least a little bit.
Until this game, right?
Yeah. I'll give it to SMU because they dropped the game last year against BYU. I don't think that they're going to have a letdown at home in the non-con back-to-back years. I think they make enough plays with their experience and win a fun one. I think it's going to be.
It is tricky though, because unlike BYU, this is kind of a rivalry game.
I know.
So it makes it almost even trickier adding a second Big 12 Texas school.
Yeah.
So you got them 2-0. I got them 2-0. We're going to talk more about their season in a second here, but I want to let you know that the college football experience is brought to you by Circa's Ultimate Fantasy Football Giveaway. Look, we all play fantasy football. I didn't even watch the NFL last year. Is that foo-foo kickoff shit? And I still played fantasy football. It's that much of a blast. All right. And look, Circa Resort and Casino in downtown Las Vegas, they give it away the ultimate fantasy football experience for a 12-person league to draft in Vegas and be treated like VIPs for their entire stay. They're going to pick you up from the airport in a goddamn limo. All right. They're going to give you a $5,000 tab for stadium swim and a hotel stay for you and your 11 league mates. And you can always get 15% off at the Circa properties with the promo code SGP15 as well. So what are you doing, folks? Enter the Ultimate Fantasy Football Contest for free at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/circa. That's CIRCA. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/circa. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Yes, you've heard us talk about Rhythm before, I'm sure. And they just dropped a game-changing feature called Power Trends. Yes, these AI-detected patterns where Rhythm's model has consistently won, has a high ROI. I mean, honestly, think a strikeout prop that wins 59% of the time when the line and win probability hit a certain range. All right. Power trends are updated daily and exclusive to Rhythm. No touts, no noise, just clean data backed bets, baby. Download the Rhythm app. Check out the power trends and start betting smarter. Look, get your free 7-day trial period today, too, at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. And last but not least, we're brought to you by, mybookie.ag. Look, MyBookie is your place to bet on every single sport, including the NBA Finals and Stanley Cup Finals. Look, for the true degens, the MyBookie money bag is just a ton of fun. And MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of different locations as well. You can easily deposit, get lightning fast payouts using crypto. So what are you doing? Head on over to mybookie.ag. Use our promo code TCESGPN for 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply, of course. That's mybookie.ag, promo code TCESGPN. All right, we are back on the SMU Mustangs preview. We're calling for them to be 2-0, 2 weeks in, and then a strange road trip to Springfield, Missouri. Take on Ryan Beard's Missouri State Bears. Who? Don't worry, he's married into Bobby Petrino's family. So I'm sure there's a 12% chance that he could have road rash on his fucking face by the time this game kicks. This game's hilarious because now I will say good job by SMU not doing Baylor and TCU back to back. That would have been filthy for you. But this is like a sleepy game. You're on the road at a team that was in the FCS last year. Weird. And they were a winning team in the FCS. This is the Nevada game from a season ago where, like, if you come out flat, you could drop this one.
Yep.
Now I'll take SMU to win. I got them 3-0. How about you?
Yeah, this would be one. We'll take the points. But SMU gets out of there alive just like they did last year. I mean, nightmare spot.
Especially because they're brand new to the FBS. So, like, I could just see this place rocking, knowing they're getting a college football playoff team.
Yeah.
To their place that this is an FCS program for a long time.
Year 3 head coach too. It's not a year 1 coach. Like they got experience, and this is like Arizona State going to Texas State last year too. Like these are hard games, and so you would think that, like the BYU game I said earlier, you would think they learned from that Nevada game last year. The guys that are back, Jennings.
I just think the line play will probably be the difference with them returning the ends 3 of 5 on the O line. I think SMU, even if they're asleep first half, they wake up, they get it done. But week 4,
the Iron Skillet,
the battle of the Iron Skillet, and get this. I know we just did an episode talking about USC Notre Dame potentially ending their rivalry. Well, this is the last version of SMU TCU we get because these fucking idiots can't figure this out. We've been getting this game forever. It goes back 110 years. Now that SMU scored 66 points on TCU last year, and Sonny Dykes got ejected in the game. There is no way SMU is beating TCU. Like, I'm all over TCU right now. Hoover's back at the QB spot. I think they're contenders in the Big 12. I just feel like with the way things went down last year, yes, shout out to Rob Martin. This is a underrated, great college football rivalry, and it's a shame these fucking television execs can't get in a room and demand that we see these precious rivalry games that make the sport so great. I think TCU is going to get them. There's no way. After the way they embarrassed them and ran that fucking score up last year, there's just no way to me. No way. Give me TCU all day.
And you got to be a real college football fan to remember this game because I think it was on the C-Dub last year.
It was. Yeah.
and Dykes got tossed at his former school, and they went out of their way to run up that score, and they celebrated like they had won 10 games and won. Yeah, I'm all over TCU and the revenge. Sonny Dykes
spot.
Yeah, Sonny Dykes had not lost a game in this rivalry on both sides until last year. So he's going to be licking at his chops to get his revenge in the finale here.
Yeah, so that will put them at 3-1. Yeah. They better get that Baylor game. Then we got a bye week. Good bye week. After an emotional game like that, that is when you want a bye week. Because if the Missouri State game was this week, I'd be like, we gotta take Missouri State.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Kevin. Say this is bullshit. Who's responsible for ending this rivalry? I mean, I think it's both schools probably mixed in with the TVs.
More TCU.
Yeah. Well, with them joining the ACC, because TCU did block them from joining the Big 12. Yeah. So there is that, right? Where the nice bye week though, and shout out to Ramon Flanagan and Eric Dickerson, a couple of the greats at SMU there. Syracuse and Fran Brown, my boy Fran. This series goes back to 1932. Surprisingly, I think you would think, what? Syracuse, SMU? They've been playing for a long time. Not necessarily every year, obviously, but the series does go back to 1932, and this is an interesting game. It's just a really good bye week because Syracuse almost went to the ACC championship a year ago. They were a team in contention with SMU, and now they get that bye week. They come into Dallas. I will take SMU to jump to 4-1 here. What are you going to be doing?
Yeah, this is a fun little ACC opener. Two teams that really overachieved last year. I mean, Syracuse, like you said, if they hadn't dropped that game, they could have made the playoff too. So I'll go SMU at home off the bye week. We think that potentially TCU could put it on them a little bit. Nice week here, nice spot I think for SMU coming off the bye week to regroup and get back on track.
Yeah. Ooh, man, the chat is firing away. The rivalry's already speaking in the chat as people are talking shit back and forth. Yeah. So next after that,
Stanford,
and a series that goes back to the 1936. Frank Wright is the interim head coach of Stanford. He's there for the whole year with Andrew Luck after he was backpacking for a fucking few years. Okay, this one will be a blowout. SMU destroys Stanford. I don't know what the hell to make of Stanford this year with like how late the coaching turn was to Frank Wright, the player, a bunch of mass exodus after that. So I got him sitting there at what is this? Would this be 5-1, 6 weeks in? How about you, Mac?
Yeah, all right. So if you want to make the case for Stanford, they're off a bye week. However, SMU has dudes. Stanford does not. I'll go SMU.
So as of right now, I think like
5-1.
Pony Express Magic. I mean, everyone's buying in. Probably top 10, top 15 at this point. Then they head to Clemson, South Carolina, where Cade Klubnik is back, and they added Tom Allen as defensive coordinator in a series that goes back a year, where they played their first ever matchup in the ACC championship a year ago. Yeah, it's been a fun story, but you played in Charlotte. You're going in the Death Valley. You're not fucking winning this game. All over Clemson. Second loss on the schedule. How about for you?
Revenge angle's great, but I'm not betting against Dabo in what probably will be a primetime game because they won't get big noons like the Big Ten. This game will probably be Saturday night ABC, 8 o'clock. I'll take Clemson under the lights.
So we both got them at 5-2. We're agreeing too much.
Yeah.
Next up, back-to-back away. You're headed to Winston-Salem in a series that goes back to 1949. Take on Wake Forest. No more Dave Clawson. Jake Dickert is the man in Winston-Salem, and that has me convinced that this will be an easy win for SMU. Now, it could be, I don't know what I think this will be an easy win. I don't think Wake's very good this year. So that will put me at 6-2. How about you?
I think this is going to be a tricky game. First year head coach. They're also coming off a bye here. So, I mean, Wake is coming off the bye, not SMU. I'll take SMU just because they're coming off a Clemson loss. But I think Dickert might have his team playing better here towards the end of October at this point.
Back-to-back away is always tricky.
Yes.
But Winston-Salem's, if you're telling me I have to have back-to-back away of Power 5 conferences, I want Winston-Salem as that second, probably more than any school in the nation. After that, you come back to Dallas and you got the Canes, Rhett Lashlee, obviously part of that staff with Manny Diaz, where they said, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
This series goes back to 1965. This game is great. And that Miami logo is fire. Same with the SMU one too. This is a huge game because there's so much turnover. There's so much crossover here. There's a lot of players on SMU's roster that played at Miami. Give me a win for SMU. 7-2. Mario Cristobal is terrible with in-game management. You know, they lose Cam Ward. I know they're still nice on the line of scrimmage, but you got to go all the way out there to Texas in a series. You haven't played at this in Texas in a minute. So I'm going to take SMU to get this one. Is that what puts me at what? What do we at now?
7-2.
7-2. What are you doing here?
I went back and forth. I ended up going SMU. I just think that the atmosphere would be too much. And I don't know, man. This is the time of year where you bet against Cristobal. It's November, coaching matters, adjustments, and Cristobal, the talent isn't that far off from SMU to Miami. So I'll take the better coach. Give me Lashlee.
We are still on par, agreeing. 6-2, 8 games in. Week 9, we got the JFK Bowl, baby.
Oh, this is great.
Going to Chestnut Hill. This series goes back to 1986. And yes, the JFK Bowl. Ask not what you can do for your country, but what you can do for college football. Dude, this is the loss. It's going to be fucking cold. It's going to be cold up here. What time? What is the official date on this game? I should have put that on the fucking slide.
8th.
Ah, have fun. Have fun. Loss. Have fun doing your phony offense. I'm joking. It's a good offense, but I'm just saying you're going to be in the gun. You saw it at Penn State. They're like, fuck this, man. It's cold up here. Upset. BC gets them. 3rd loss of the season right here.
Yeah, and if you remember, last year BC went to SMU and it was a 3-point game with 5 minutes to go.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and BC got him the year before now at Fenway Park.
Yeah.
This one's at Chestnut Hill, but
give me Billy Teapot, baby. I'm all over BC. This is a horrible spot, and like you said, this game's cold. I like BC this year in the ACC. So yeah, we're agreeing again. 3 losses.
This is the revenge spot. All those years, you lost in Fenway 2 years ago, But I told you this, they take it personal. That JFK shit, he went down to Dallas. This is the JFK Bowl. You're not winning this fucking game. These fans care. All right. So that puts him at 3 losses there. And that's one of the games I'm most excited about every year is the JFK Bowl. Shout out to Patty C and NC Nick. Then you come back from Chestnut Hill. You got a bye week. Shout out to June Jones there, friend of the program, great guy. And I like to think the guy that kind of kickstarted this program. It's a good bye week after a trip there to Chestnut Hill. Then you're home to take on Jeff Brom in Louisville, who added Miller and Moss at the quarterback spot. Series goes back to 1983. This to me is it's a sneaky game. I like the bye week for Brom though. I like that bye week for Brom. Like, I mean, to prepare 2 weeks for Brom is key to me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say loss.
Damn, I was gonna say a lot. I wanted to give them one home game that they were gonna drop. I think they'll between that game and the Miami game, I think they're gonna drop one of those home games. And remember, they went to Louisville last year and won. So this is a revenge angle. Louisville, I felt like kind of self-destructed in that game from a turnover standpoint. So give me Brom. I'm a big fan of his. I know you are as well. So I think later in the year, I think Brom will have his team in contention.
Yeah. I mean, I'll put it like this. Between this game and this game, the season ender, SMU heading to beautiful, one of my favorite stadiums, California Memorial Stadium. Take on the Golden Bears. Series goes back to 1957. They're losing one of these final 2.
Yeah.
In my
Who's
opinion.
coaching this game for Cal?
That's the tricky thing is if Cal struggles, Justin Wilcox might, it could be our boy, Nick Rolovich, friend of the program, and, or Brian Harson or something, or fuck Riverboat Rod could be for all we know. I'm going to put it like this though. One of those 2 they're dropping. If they beat Louisville, they're dropping this. This is a strange trip too. You're out in fucking California. You're like, we're in the ACC. What's this? You saw Miami should have lost. The fans, they get a bad rap. Everyone classifies them as Stanford fans. Like Stanford having no fans. Cal's got decent football fans. They're better than what people think. They're better than UCLA's. I know that's not bold, but it's still they get a bad rap in my opinion to a certain extent. Yeah, my thing is they go 1-1 in the final 2 there. What are you doing here?
Yeah, I'm with you. So I'll say they bounce back and get this one for win number 8. This is a tricky spot. They did drill Cal last year, so Cal remembers that. It's a long trip. Cal's tricky out there. I also was thinking if this game has implications for SMU making the ACC title, Cal fans will show up for this game so that they can spoil the party. So I'll take SMU to finish off 8-4 here.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying, especially if like Wilcox and Cal, like I like his coaching staff this year. I actually, though, I know they had a mass exodus. Another thing is they got L.J. Johnson, the running back, SMU kind of passed on this year. He ended up transferring to Cal. Revenge game for him. So it's tricky going to Berkeley,
Hippie Olympics. Doesn't matter who wins because they're all losers.
So I'd say they go 1-1 in those final 2. Well, that puts us at what, 8? We're both at 8-4, right?
It's the under, right?
Both at 8-4. The win total is at 8.5. 8.5. So going back to the schedule here. And by the way, plus 700 to win the ACC, plus 9,000 to win it all. They made the playoffs a year ago. The away games are the ones in yellow there. Missouri State, TCU, Miami, I don't think is away. Oh no, those are the home games I did, right? Did I fuck this up? I think I fucked this up. The away games are in yellow. Missouri State, TCU, Clemson, Wake, and BC and Cal. So 6 away games. This is a harder schedule than last year. I think there's no denying that. You look at last season's road games in 24 were Nevada, who was coming off an awful year. You were getting a brand new coach in week 0. Louisville, Stanford, Duke, and UVA. This season, you are getting Missouri State, which I guess is in similar vein with Nevada, but then TCU, who I think will be in contention for the Big 12 championship in the Big 12 there. Clemson, which will be in contention for the ACC championship. Wake, BC, and Cal. I mean, I guess BC and Cal, I think, will probably be bowl teams. Now, I guess if you're looking at this as a SMU fan, you're saying, well, we also get the two worst teams in the ACC, in my opinion, Wake and Stanford. So still a nice break there. And by the way, this is juiced to the under. Well, at least at DK. How confident do you feel about this? This is just a much harder schedule. Like, we just gave him the Baylor game.
Yeah.
The Syracuse game, the Miami game. I think I feel pretty decent about the under here. Am I crazy?
No, I actually was just getting ready to say that. I mean, I think there's more likely that they go 7-5 than 9-3. I think if they go 9-3, they tip of the cap. They earned that thing because Baylor's is I guess the BYU game of last year, and then you got to flip the TCU because they got TCU at home. Now they got to go to TCU in a revenge game. Syracuse isn't bad. You got to go to Clemson. I mean, that's the toughest place to play in that league. And then Louisville's going to be tough. That'll be a one-possession game, and tricky road spots at BC and at Cal. So I definitely like the under. So no ass kissing here to start. Here we're giving out an under to start 136.
Yeah, and look, I mean, there's certain ones like we'll do a locks episode like we do every year in August of our favorite win totals. I feel pretty good about this one.
Yeah.
Just because I think the schedule's that much harder. TCU is a better team than they were a year ago. And the fact, I know you still have Stanford and Wake, and maybe they get a benefit of like Wilcox being fired. So Cal's maybe a doormat by then. I don't know. But I just think it's a much harder schedule than a year ago.
I agree. There's more paths to 7-5. I don't think that they will go 6 and like they could go. I think unless Jennings goes down, I think they have too much talent to lose all those 50-50 games. That was another thing. They didn't play in a lot of 50-50 games last year. So it's not one of those teams where like TCU 2 years ago, where it's like, all right, we know they're coming back because they won all those crazy games. They didn't really have that many close games, but yeah.
And they got the best of I mean, if you throw out the postseason, which was Clemson, which was a close game in the ACC championship, but they were down big at that point, at one point in that game. But then the Penn State game, obviously that was a blowout. But if you look at the regular season, if games decided by 10 points or less, they were 4-1.
Yeah.
I don't think that's sustainable if they have that many. I think the schedule's tougher. So yeah, I feel pretty decent about the under in this one, man. 8-4 could still get you to the ACC championship, especially if two of your losses are Baylor and TCU. So don't get it twisted. If SMU fans are hitting us up saying we'll be in the ACC, you could still easily be in the ACC championship. And just imagine if they lose to Baylor, TCU, and your only conference losses are Clemson and I don't know, Louisville or Cal. Yeah. Then you're still probably going to be in the ACC championship, depending on the tiebreaker scenario. So
Clemson had 2 losses last year, right? I think they did.
Yeah. Shout out to Weehawk, who thinks this win total will drop by August. Yeah, I feel pretty decent about this one. But if Jennings takes a step forward, I do think there's potential there for them to make a fool out of us again. But actually, I was on the over last year. But I know we had one of us here at SGPN, and it wasn't you, locked up the under with SMU. Cannot wait to watch the season. And folks, you thought you were done with us? No. It's fucking 20 minutes. We're talking Florida International Panther football. What other podcast is doing that? Right?
Airport.
We're going to give you an hour on the airport. All right. So check it out. Folks, if you're wondering, first also check out the college basketball experience. Myself, Moneyline Mac and company host that. And the college baseball experience. College baseball killing it, man. How about your Mountaineers yesterday? My ECU Pirates were in it. They did stick it to those Florida Gators. Take that, you piles of shit. But check out the college baseball experience. Also check out the FCS college football experience and the Sports Gambling Podcast Network and Sports Gambling Podcast in general. Give Moneyline Mac a follow on Twitter at Moneyline_Mac. I'm on Twitter at TheColBD. And don't forget the College Football Experience is on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. Once again, also highly recommend watching it with the slides there. YouTube.com/the college experience to watch it. And that's the hub for all of our content: college baseball, college basketball, college football, FCS. Shit, we even did D2, D3. I mean, we went deep. So you're going to have access to all of that stuff if you subscribe over there. So do that. And yeah, till next time, which is in 20 minutes. This is the College Football Experience, SMU style. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
Yeah. I know I'm out of my mind. I've lost my mind. I'm just ahead of my time. I know I'm out of my mind. I'm just ahead of my time. Rockin' at first was hell without rocker. I pop up in spots, they screaming, new clockwork. I'm dilated, the fuck off, I ain't doing it. Before Weatherman dropped, they thought I might have ruined it. Elusive, I just deny rumors. Smile and give punchlines with dry humor. See what the future brings. In 03, I got on MTV. Time is bugged, that's the message I'm sending them. Sign with Slug and survive beef with Eminem. I mention different events in my sentences. It's dangerous to reminisce or remember it. And still it's evidence, check 1, 2, 1, 2. Less punches and spit what I've been through. I stayed here, got booed, but kept rapping. The same year got sued by Kurt Knappman. I know I'm lost my mind. I'm just ahead of my time. I know I'm out of my mind. Look, I know where I come from and know who I started with, but trying to split a check 8 ways, that's the hardest shit. And I ain't starving shit, I had to get my own. So I ain't trying to hear that bullshit you on. Like you love my brothers, my crew more than I do. Anytime I make a change, I gotta run it by you. I wish I would give a fuck. I was broke in the hood on the porch and some chucks. The first one saying me.